Hello, everybody. It is everyone's favorite time of the week, although it's a lot better after you win. We've got Snap Count Monday, so we've got some snap count data to take a look at here from yesterday's loss against the Rams. There's some stuff here to like, and I'll tell you, there's some stuff here to really question. So we're going to go through it here. We're going to talk it through. We're going to try to figure it out, but this has some really discouraging elements here, and it points towards, in some ways, the Seahawks taking a gamble yesterday that didn't pay off. So let's start on the offensive side of the ball. 65 snaps. And that's actually going to be one of the positive things. Keep that number in mind as we go forward. 65 total offensive snaps. Running back was really simple. Charbonnet got 55 snaps because he was the healthy one. Walker, 7 snaps, got hurt. Dallas filled in for an additional 7 snaps. Nobody else did anything. That's what happens when your lead running back gets hurt. Your backup running back gets a ton of carries, a ton of action. So 55, okay, sure, no problem. Understandable. Things start to break down a little bit, though, when you get to the wide receivers. So 65 snaps on offense, 46 went to Metcalf, 36 went to Lockett, and 44 went to JSN. Not the worst in the world, big picture-wise, right? But I'm thinking about this game. I'm thinking about how DK Metcalf actually played really well. I'm thinking about how Lockett made some key catches as well. Both those guys, I thought, were positive contributors to this team. And I'm looking at how little they played relative to the total number of offensive snaps. Lockett can maybe be understood because he's dealing with an injury, but Metcalf only playing 46 out of 65 snaps. This is what I mean when I say I feel like the Seahawks tried to get away with only playing some of their best players a limited amount. They were trying to save something for Thursday and thinking, we're going to put just enough out there to win this game. And it backfired. And now, like I said yesterday, that Thursday game doesn't really mean that much anymore. You can win it and still be in a not very good position. I'm sorry, but winning the game on Thursday night is a step in the right direction and it'll make us feel better, but it doesn't mean what it would have meant if we had won this game. So if that was the case, if we really were trying to take it easy on guys like Metcalf and Lockett to preserve them for the Thursday night game, then that was a bad idea. I mean, Eskridge, who had played all of 3 snaps the whole season, plays 14 in this game. So that kind of indicates to me you were trying to get away with having Eskridge be on the field a decent amount at the expense of the snaps of the other receivers. So to me, that is a mistake. Now, granted, it wouldn't have been a mistake had you managed to win that game. It would have been brilliant had you managed to win the game, but you have to win the game. Bobo got 26 snaps, which strikes me as a pretty reasonable amount of snaps for where he is right now and what he's doing. You know, he's a great run blocker, but when you're not running the ball, he can't really utilize that part of his game. And, yeah, seems reasonable to me. Tight ends, once again, low tight end usage, relatively speaking. Noah Fant had 40 snaps, which, I mean, that's fine. 40 snaps is cool, but I think he was targeted once this whole game. So I understand that Noah Fant is not going to be here next year, but he's here this year, and we need to figure out what we can do with him while he's here. Because right now, it seems like we have a pretty poor understanding of how to utilize him. He is a good player. He's not Kelsey, he's not Kittle, but he's good. And for him to be on the field for 40 snaps in a game and only get targeted once that's a problem. And then your other tight ends, Dissly and Parkinson, didn't play very much at all. Now, Dissly dropped an early easy catch that hurt badly, and Parkinson was coming into this game injured. Maybe that affected his availability, but this is kind of a step in the wrong direction, I think. You're not using your tight ends enough. This kind of goes back to the stuff that we were talking about a couple weeks ago. And it's not like you were heavily featuring your wide receivers in this game because, like I just said, you were forcing Eskridge out there a non trivial number of snaps. So, I don't know. I don't get it. Brady Russell got 2 snaps, by the way. He continues to kind of just pick up whatever's left over. But, yeah, not thrilled about the way we use tight ends. Offensive line, Cross, Lewis, and Brown played every snap. Haynes and Peters played 53 snaps, and then Forsyth and Bradford played 12 snaps each. If Haynes got hurt, okay. But if Bradford went in as part of a rotation, not okay. This rotation stuff, this like it's like you think you're playing hockey and you're rotating your linesmen in and out. This has got to stop. Like it's one thing when it's Peters who is really really old, right? Peters is old and probably can't play 65 snaps in a game. But your other Phil Haynes, I know he's not great, but stick with him if he's going to be out there at the start of the game. If you don't want to play Phil Haynes, then start Bradford and run with Bradford. This rotation stuff messes things up. I think some of our penalties stem from that. I think that we had some protection breakdowns in the game that stem from these guys just not being comfortable with each other because you don't let anything settle. So, yeah, sick of this offensive line rotation stuff. Really hoping we can get rid of it by next year by actually getting some blue chip guys in here. Now we go over to the defense and 67 snaps total, so it was almost parity. It was very close to parity, so that's good, right? Because when you think about it, the Rams had a bunch of drives extended by penalty, and the Seahawks had to deal with their backup quarterback for 3 drives. And he didn't do anything on those 3 drives. So the fact that we were almost able to achieve parity despite those circumstances is actually commendable. Really good. Props. Defensive line. Let's start with the defensive line here. Leonard Williams leads the way with 50 snaps. Makes sense. Jarran Reed, 45. Sure. Draymond Jones gets 35. A lot of his snaps are on the edge. So, makes sense. Mario Edwards gets 28. About right. Cam Edwards gets 6. Basically, whatever's left over from Jarran Reed's pile. Sure. No real issues with the way we chose to divvy up snaps on the defensive line. So this is probably going to be our modus operandi going forward. Some games Reed might get a little bit more than Williams, but this is basically our comfort zone. Linebacker, Wagner gets all the snaps. Brooks gets all the snaps except for 1. So pretty simple stuff here. In fact, a lot of the stuff here is going to be simple. But we do have to spend a lot of time on the edge rusher stuff here. So Boye Mafe gets 44 snaps. Probably needed to give him a little bit more in this game, but okay, 44 is not a bad number. Darrell Taylor gets 23 snaps. All right, cool. That seems about right for somebody of his caliber of player. I'm good. Frank Clark gets 31 snaps, and Derek Hall gets 6. 3 different ways to interpret that. 1, Derek Hall is in the doghouse because he's not playing that well and he's missing tackles and we don't trust him. Somewhat understandable if that's the case. Somewhat understandable. 2, we were trying to preserve Derek Hall for the Thursday night game so he can play a bunch then, and we decided to give Frank Clark a ton of snaps because we know he's not going to be able to make the turnaround anyway. So we were just like, play him as much as we can in this game, and we'll hope it's enough to win, and then we'll not have him on Thursday night, which is not okay. And then the third possibility is we actually think Frank Clark is better and worth more playing time than Derek Hall, which really not okay. Like super not okay. So I don't know what it is, but you got to let Derek Hall fly a little bit here. If he's hurt, then if he's so hurt he can't play to this degree, 6 snaps out of 67, you might need to just put him out and bring Tyreek Smith up. 6 snaps, you may as well not be playing. So, yeah, this was a part of the problem yesterday. 31 snaps, almost half the game for Frank Clark when he really can't do much of anything is a big problem. Secondary is going to be really easy. Basically, our 3 starting cornerbacks played every snap, and Mike Jackson played 1 snap, all 67 for the other 3. Safety, Diggs, and Love played all 67 snaps. Nobody else played. That's it. That's it for Snap Count Monday. So we kind of sped through that pretty quickly here because a lot of it was pretty straightforward, and I don't have much to say about it. Defensively, the only issue I have is with the edge rusher rotation, but this is a big problem. Frank Clark, I'm sorry, you can't be playing 31 snaps in a game with Frank Clark and expecting anything good to happen. He's going to wear out, and he arguably doesn't have anything good to give to begin with. But if he does, you want him playing as few snaps as possible so he can go all out for those snaps. And Derek Hall, I maybe he's hurt, maybe he's in the doghouse, but I don't think this is the time to stick really hard to your principles about Derek Hall. You need him out there. You need to at least give him some kind of a chance here because what we are doing in absent with his absence is not okay. It's not working. It's not good. We had no pressure on Stafford. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get on out of here. Shorter than usual Snap Count Monday, but there's not a lot to say. There's some stuff that I like, but there's some stuff here that is a big problem. All right, I'll see you guys later. Go Hawks, and yep, do better next time, hopefully.